Hello everyone and welcome back to the Wild Endeavour podcast. I'm your host Jean-Luc, joined as always by Tharies and special guest star Will Maddox.
Hey there!
Hey! we did it! We had a guest!
Yeah.
Yes.
Former retired Twitter memer, current Universal member, Will Maddox. Hello.
Multi-talented animator.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Very nice to have you here. And the reason you are here is we want to talk about Wales Comic Con because we all attended together, kind of.
Yes.
I say together, you know, we were in different places, but you know, we
all met up.
the actual convention together. So yeah.
Quite so.
Yes.
It's going to be a special Comic-Con special episode of the Wild Endeavour.
Yeah. We haven't got any budget for like confetti or anything, like, you know, maybe if like this podcast starts doing a bit better. But anyway, how would you guys like to start? I guess talk about like how you guys travelled up. How was your travel? How was the journey to Wales Comic Con?
Well, I'll start with a guest.
Hello.
Yes. Very, very good idea.
I'm trying to remember when I first heard about Wales Comic Con. I think I
thought you said just heard about Wales.
Did one of us not message you about it?
I discovered the island like Christopher Columbus, you know.
I can't remember when first. I think Jean must have been talking. No, I think it was because I just wanted to go to more conventions in general because I've had like bad experience with online Doctor Who fandom that I was like, you know what, screw it. I just want to start being on I just want to start meeting up with people in person and stuff. So I want to start going to like proper cons. And I think because Telford, Wales Comic Con was happening on the week on the very day of my birthday actually. So we attended on my birthday. I think I was like, yeah, I want to go to that. So I went along with Hugh, my partner. He's on the other side of the room. You can't see him. We got on the train. I mean, we planned this like a couple of weeks in advance. We had a train journey. We had to change a few times at like I can't even remember. But we booked like an Airbnb with Jean. So we split the money 2 ways because I couldn't pay for it. Hugh had to pay for me. And Jean also split some of the money. The train journey wasn't that hard getting up there. It was more the journey to get to the Airbnb that we were staying at. But I'll let Jean elaborate on that because I've been talking for like 2 minutes now.
Yeah, I mean, just covering my journey up to the actual place itself, it was sort of similar. Train journey was pretty easy. It was like a 7-hour journey.
Scotland.
Yeah. But it wasn't that bad compared to considering all of my other con ventures have involved sitting on a coach for like 12 hours. Like being on the train for like 6-7 hours wasn't that bad in comparison. And it was pretty like calm going down there. What I wasn't expecting, however, was the 40 to 50 minute walk from the actual train station to the Airbnb.
Oh god.
There was like no path, like for half the route. A lot of it was walking along the side of like motorways, going up hills, through forests. There was a point where there was just like this stodgy like marsh path, and someone had made like a makeshift path where they had just thrown like bricks down. There was a full wooden pallet at one point. My boots got absolutely destroyed.
Airbnb first, and I remember getting there and I was just like, right, I'm gonna text Jean about this because he's in for a wild ride.
Yeah.
Well, how was the place you guys were staying? Because obviously I didn't see it. But
the actual place was quite nice.
Yeah, the actual place was really swish. It was very pristine.
How long was the journey between where you were staying and the actual convention? Because I know that, like, you guys arrived about the same time I did.
I think I saw John first, but we didn't take the journey back that we did. We got the taxi down because we thought
we took taxis for the rest of our stay there.
Yeah, which took like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that makes
less
sense.
than less than 10 minutes. Like
way. Yeah. I guess I should talk about my journey now. The reason I think it was made more sense to leave mine last is that I had the shortest journey, because I was going by car. So it was, I got a parent to drive me up. It took it about, I think it was about two and a half hours, like, there. And, like, obviously, unlike you guys, I didn't stay the night, but I did the all in one day, which was a blessing and, I guess, a curse. Not a curse in, like, it's a super bad thing, but, like, I was, like, tired for a couple
you must
days
have been
after,
exhausted.
because of, like, how much you do in one day. I was the same with the, when I did the BFI, the Galaxy 4 BFI, I went to that, and that was all in one day, like, one round trip. And that was, like, double the time of Telford as well, because that was, like, 4 hours. For me, in Cardiff, it's, like, 4 hours to London. But no, the travel itself was honestly pretty, like, quick. It felt quicker going back than it did going up. Yeah, it was a pretty chill journey, I guess.
For contrast, I live in Buckinghamshire, while Jean lives in Scotland and Darius lives in like Wales. So that's a contrast for like from where we had to travel from to get to Telford.
Yeah, we all basically cover like the 3 major countries that like probably head down, you know, which is quite funny. But yeah, going into the actual con, I should probably say as well, when I got to the con, parking for me was like a nightmare. Like, there was basically nearby, because you know how right by the convention centre, this is going to be hard for me to visualise, but like, you know, especially for listeners, but bear with me. You know how you got the International Centre, and then a little ways down there was like a sort of shopping complex thing? Like, by there was like a parking complex underneath, like what most shopping centres have. And
I saw that. Yeah,
we were going to park in there because we thought that makes sense, but my car was too tall to actually get in the parking complex, and like the roads were just full of cars. So we had to basically just sort of quickly stop on the road, unload me, and then I had to like drive through the shopping complex and over to the convention centre, I guess.
Thankfully, that shopping centre is very disabled friendly, like incredibly.
Yeah, it did look pretty disabled friendly, except for the fact that, as I said, the car didn't.
Oh yeah,
fit.
the car not at all. But
it was in a. I'll say, like, in terms of the location of the building, I thought it was in like a good location. Like, it had an Asda right by it. It had like a full-on shopping centre, so it's quite a convenient spot for people, because obviously I came down with some family members as well. Obviously they didn't come with me to the convention, but they sort of hung around Telford for a bit, and I know they did get bored eventually, but they at least had like a shopping centre there to look around and get food and whatever, so good on that front as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. On my last day, I realised just how barren like Telford essentially is, because past that little shopping complex, and then like you've got the B&M and a few other shops, there isn't really anything around.
Yeah,
it's just like that small contained little area.
It's such a weird like mishmash, that town.
Yeah,
like,
I've never been before.
Kind of in the middle of nowhere.
I'd been to Worcestershire, which you pass, or at least I passed on the way up, and like kind of around there, but like I'd never been to Telford, so yeah, I mean it was kind of what I expected though, really. Like, you know, when I came up I was like, yep, this makes sense, you know what I mean. It didn't like, not in a bad way, it didn't like surprise me in terms of what it was like. I was like, yep, this makes sense for a place to hold a convention.
It surprised me a little bit, just from my experience of only doing the London ones. Like, I was expecting this to be big, but I wasn't expecting it to be as big as it actually was.
The major thing that did surprise me was how big, like, the convention centre itself and the amount of people that showed up was.
Seeing those queues when me and Will turned up, we were like, oh, we're not going to get in here for like another 3 hours.
Yeah, because like for context, I've only ever done the Cardiff ones at the Motorpoint, which are like comparatively really small. We only ever get, like, in terms of Doctor Who guests, it's normally like either Colin or Sylvester, because they show up to all of them. And like that's about it. So going from that to this one, where it's a lot of people and massive queues, like it was quite almost like a culture shock for me. It was like, oh my god, this is massive. Like, the thing it gave me a vibe of the building once you're inside it was like an IKEA. You know how if you've ever been into an IKEA, like it'll just stretch for ages, and it all sort of looks the same. That was kind of the vibe the building gave. You know, when you're in the main bit, and like there's just rows of like stalls and these grey walls that all look the same. It's like, this is massive.
Yeah.
The only other thing, before we get to the con itself, the only other thing I really have to say about like the general journey is that on the day when me and Hugh travelled up, it was actually our anniversary, and so it was funny just when we got to the Airbnb, and then Jean joined us, and we all went to Asda, and Jean was basically third wheeling the entire time.
Yes.
Very nice.
And then I stole Jean's 10th Doctor cosplay, and just sort of like...
Yeah, if you want to see that video, that's on the Universal's channel.
Can we link that, like maybe like in a pinned comment or something?
Yeah, maybe put a brief clip on screen, I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be anything. We were just fooling around, and I thought, it's too funny not to put out.
Yeah. I suppose as well, we could probably link my Comic-Con video, because I'm probably going to repeat a couple of things that I said.
Yeah, I'll link my video too, which will hopefully be out by the time
there's also some things that I've kept for this. Since we were talking about going into the convention, something I just found quite funny. As I mentioned, I had to like sort of wheel up, about what, like, I think it was like a 10-minute like wheel up to the convention center. And as I was heading in, I just heard, like, there was a bunch of obviously people going into the convention, all in different costumes and whatever, and I just heard this girl full on just scream "Nerd" at the top of her voice, and it was genuinely like the Homer Simpson meme. That was what happened in real life, and I was like, that's just off to a great start. I'm just voluntarily going into this place. I'm prepared to be judged by society.
I was incredibly lucky when it came to getting in, because I had been in the queue with Will and Hugh for like, I'd say about 15-20 minutes or something. And the queue was moving quite slowly, and we were just in the queue. We were pointing out different characters we saw, pointing out all the doctors we could find. And then I realised that I had priority entry tickets, and I was queuing for the general entry. So I started running back, and I was like, okay, I'll just meet you guys in, because I didn't know how long that queue was moving. It was moving so slowly.
Oh, so is that why you made it in before?
Yeah. But the thing is, I was lucky, right? Because I ran up, I then bumped into one of my mates, and he was like, "Oh, come with me. They're letting in the people for like the first batch of like David Tennant shoots." And I was like, okay. Like, knowing that I was like batch like D or something. Like, so I just went along with him, and then I got in like super early.
Yeah. Well, I think, were you in before me or after me? Because
I think it would have been a similar time.
The way I got in was I was heading obviously in the same way as everyone else. And then one of the stewards stopped me and said, "Oh, accessibility's this way." And I just basically got to like skip the entire queue to go in, which meant that I was in pretty damn quickly.
Yeah, well, I got to skip like most of the queue, but I did go in a different entrance.
Honestly, though, the queue wasn't that bad for the remainder of the time. It wasn't that bad.
How long were you queuing for, Maddox? Because you were obviously slightly longer than me and Jean were.
Overall, it felt about 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So that...
I could definitely... I think, because you guys were definitely, like, longer in the queues than we were. But, I mean, in the end, I think it was... Because, to be honest, the first sort of 20 minutes, I just kind of spent trying to find you, Jean. And, like, vice versa, I guess. And,
the signal's so bad in that place.
Oh, yeah, no, that's something probably is worth mentioning. Like, I had, like, no connection at any point, which is annoying, because you want to, like, share pictures that you've taken at something like a Comic-Con, and it was really hard to do that, so...
the connection...
I suppose, though, that's inevitable with a building that big, right? Like if one's that big, then I suppose any connection's going to be a bit...
Yeah, it was a bit flim-flam.
Yeah.
Jean was cosplaying as the 10th Doctor. Darius was cosplaying as 11. I unintentionally cosplayed as the TARDIS. I didn't mean to. It's just I was wearing a TARDIS hoodie.
I love the photos, and you're just like standing like
blue hoodie
with your arms down, pretending to be the TARDIS.
Yeah, I enjoyed doing cosplay. I quite. It's one of those things, like, I don't do it often, but like, obviously Comic-Con's the perfect excuse to do it, because like everyone does it there, so you don't look out of place, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I quite enjoyed being one of the admittedly fewer 11s compared to what we'll get into, just like the thousands of 10s that were there. Like that was an interesting thing. I think we should probably bring up. Like for me, I don't know whether you guys experienced anything any different, but in terms of like cosplays of Doctors I saw, it was obviously the army of 10s. Like 10s were everywhere. You had a few 11s, a few 13s, and like no 12s. And then maybe like the odd classic Doctor.
Yeah, I saw a Tom and I saw a Colin and I saw a Davison and a McCoy.
Yeah, I also saw I saw a guy in a McCoy jumper, but like generally I think the hierarchy sort of went like Tennant, like oops, sorry, I've knocked my microphone. That's probably gonna sound terrible in the edit, but 10 at the very, very top. Then like I guess 13 and 11 I saw about the same amount.
Yeah, I think it makes sense because in February, obviously, I went to the con where Jodie was at, and the majority of Doctors there were obviously 13 cosplayers. So
which makes sense.
I think it depends just on being the actor there, basically. But it doesn't stop people from dressing up as a Doctor.
I still think though, like even though I agree with you guys in the sense that like the fact that David was there definitely like impacted the number of Davids. I do also think that was kind of the biggest like eye opener to me of like, oh yeah, he just definitely is the most popular one generally. Like obviously I think I've always thought that anyway, but obviously like we were talking about it the other day, like on a call, you know, people often discussed, oh, is Tom Baker in the frame? And it's like, yeah, a couple of years ago maybe, but now I think David is like the
David wins now.
In terms of just I would say so.
Yeah.
But I guess going into like, obviously we don't want to go to pictures like with people yet.
Yeah,
but like I obviously did on my.
Like, I was gonna say like random people.
Oh yeah, you were recognised a few times as well.
Oh, that's weird. Like that's odd to me. Like I still struggle to comprehend that fact that like people go, oh, I like your videos. I was like, thanks. You know, it's like it's weird, like because when you do online stuff, it's kind of like you just sort of see numbers on the screen, like you know people watch the videos.
Yeah.
But then to actually see people in real life go, I like your videos, that's a weird thing to me. It's very like it's new to me because the only other time that's happened is the BFI screening I went to that I mentioned earlier. But like this was again like I think in the last thing I did, the BFI, like 4 people came up and was like, oh, I like your stuff, which was like that blew my mind because it was the first time it happened. And then at this it was like more than double that, and I was like, oh, what the hell? Like I think it's nice though, and it really did make me feel happy.
A lot of them were fellow wheelchair gang members as well.
A lot of them were, a lot of them were in
I saw a master and a brigadier who we kept running into.
Yeah, we kept running. I think that's the thing that happens with Comic Cons though. You sort of end up bumping into each other because you're all doing the same things. Like everyone wanted that Tennant photo, you know, or that Catherine Tate photo. So yeah, no, that was weird. But like I was just gonna say, I got a picture with like the Davros. I think his name's Davros.
Oh yeah,
Sanctuary on Twitter. He looks sick. Like that guy.
Oh yeah, the really effort he must have put into like creating that whole thing.
Yeah, because apparently he has I think you told me, John, he has multiple of them, right? Like.
Yeah, because I saw on his Twitter account, like he has like a kind of black one as well that's kind of paradigm-esque.
He gave me a thumbs up.
Which is quite cool.
Yeah. No, that guy's really cool. And then there was obviously the Cyberman, who I've mentioned the story of before, of just us trying to get to him, because I don't know whether, obviously, you want to recount that, but I was basically just going to say, like, with... obviously you got sort of like recruited into the 10th Doctor cosplayers, and I was trying to get to this Cyberman. We eventually managed to break away.
Yeah, well, I felt really bad for you because there we were, right? Like the Cyberman guy, like he took his helmet off and he was on his phone, and we're like, okay, we won't disturb him at the minute, so we were just hanging back. As soon as he put his helmet on, he just charged straight ahead, right?
And we were like, oh my god!
And then we started chasing after him, right? And it was like 2 Doctors chasing this Cyberman, and then like he went down the stairs and we're like, shit. like Tharies is actually just being defeated by a flight of stairs.
Yeah, and then we dashed to the ramp.
Yeah. We had to like run around, and then he had just been encapsulated by this group of 10th Doctors. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then I walked up right, and it was, there's another 10th Doctor, get in. I was like, and yeah, I felt weird. It was essentially like I cucked Tharies, because he was just sitting on the side, as like there was just all these photographers taking photos of like me and all these other 10th Doctors with this Cyberman, and he was just sitting there like awkwardly, like.
The pictures I find most fun. Those are the pictures I find most funny, though. It's just all the 10th Doctors and me, the 11th Doctor in the middle.
Yeah.
It's like, why is he here? I don't know. But
Yeah.
I think me and T. Hello Benjamin from Twitter bonded over the fact that because she was in her 13th Doctor cosplay, we were like, oh my god, imagine being a 10th Doctor cosplayer, am I right? Like, you know, we bonded over the fact that, yeah. We're losing here. No.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I was losing because I remember I was trying to get to the Catherine Tate photo shoot, and they just kept dragging me back, and I'm like, I need to go get my photos.
Yeah, they kept peer pressuring you into like more pictures with them. I swear there's one of them where it's like you're like a meerkat head like peeking out at the top, like grinning, and it's like
I think so, yeah. Funny. There's one. Yeah. There's one. I found another photo as well where it's like all the 10th Doctors, right, and then there's you. And there's me just like luring over your chair, like looking at you really intensely.
Yeah, I think like the thing is, the one thing I'll say about like the photo ops themselves, I do kind of wish they'd like. Obviously, I know that you pay for like a photo, I guess, but like. I kind of wish they took a couple rather than just one, but that's just like a
I get why
thing.
they do it.
I do get it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, come on, you know, maybe a couple more, just in case you're not really like happy with the one you get.
Well, I think. I think how it works, right? Though, is that if you aren't happy with your photo, you can actually return it. Okay. And they'll just rip it up, and then you can go through and like get another one done. I know that's how it works in London.
Right.
Whether this is a different setup, I'm not sure. The thing is with the London one though, is it's a lot smaller, as in like the scale of the photo op bit. So you're handed your photos in the same bit as where the photos are being taken, so you can like almost instantly like go back up and get another one done if you aren't happy with it.
Yeah. What happened to Will?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Cut this out, but like.
I think his internet has died, sadly.
Should we like wait for him to come back?
Sure. This can be like.
We'll make idle chat. Do.
Join us after the break.
My internet went down. Oopsie poopsie. Sorry about that.
That's alright. Anyway,
we were just talking about photo ops.
Yeah, we were talking about how.
I was just talking about when Hugh and I entered the building. We kind of spent the first hour just sort of acclimatizing to the layout of the place. There was a plethora of stalls there. There were like a lot of them not even Doctor Who related, obviously. Like there was this place where you could watch like people. Play Mario Kart against each other or like Smash Bros against each other. And there were a bunch of.
It wasn't like Mario there.
Yeah. Charles Martinet himself was there.
I did kind of want to meet him. I just didn't have the money. It's like I can't do both, you know.
Yeah. There was I had to take out. Yeah, there was one point where we realized that. The payment for like autographs and stuff was cash only, and we were like, "Oh God, we have to go."
I told you that. I told you that, Will, and you were like, I swear I told you that before we went."
That is kind of annoying though. Like I get it, but it is also like we're in 2022.
Yeah, but it makes sense because obviously, like their stations, they are just tables, and for them to all have like little card things, like for a non-temporary setup.
Because how many guests do they have? Like.
I don't know.
I was
quite a lot.
I was expecting it, but it's just like it was just the hassle.
See, I wasn't Also because I've just not been to like an actual Comic-Con in so long, I kind of just forgot. Like I just didn't even cross my brain. But luckily, you guys managed to find a cash point. I did feel a bit.
Yeah, we found a cash point.
Giving you my card though, I was a bit like.
But that was a real hassle and a half.
After this.
Yeah, I'm so really annoyed. Yeah, because the guy was like, "Oh yeah, the nearest cash point is like at an Asda, which was like 10-15 minute walk away." We found out like we ended up passing like two other cash points on the way, and we also found out that there was one actually in the center.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we were just set on like a wild goose chase, just walking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this wasn't just a random. Luckily, this was an actual like crew person at the event who we asked. So
I will say though, generally, like I found the staff to be pretty helpful. Like I guess skipping forward a bit, obviously, like I'm skipping right to the end, but as you guys all know, I didn't mention this in the video, but my phone died sort of, I guess like an hour before the convention ended, maybe a bit before. But they had like little chargy dock stations to charge your phone in. That like you had to pay £1 for them to
to pay for you twice.
Yeah, you had to pay for it twice. Neither time it worked, and obviously like I had to use my phone because I needed like to let my mum know, hey, I'm ready to like leave. And yeah, so that was. But luckily, the staff managed to find like a little battery pack and cable for me to use just to get the number off my phone for my mum, and obviously put it on your phone so I could say, please come and take my phone. But no, that was I found them pretty helpful generally. Like as soon as they saw me, they were pretty good with like, accessibility, you go this way. I don't know whether I had to pay extra for that. I'm still not sure. They all just sort of ushered me in all the accessibility bits, and it's like, I'm not complaining. I just don't know whether I was meant to pay or not.
No, I don't think so.
Is it just?
I think it'd be a bit weird if you had to pay more because you
that would be
like had a disability. Yeah.
I suppose as well. Like, I mean, if it wasn't free, then it is kind of weird. They all just sort of assumed disabled accessibility this way. Like, obviously, I wasn't complaining because it did benefit me. But if that was the case, then sus vibes. But no, they were really helpful.
I think we should talk about meeting some actual guests now.
Yeah, I wanted to build it up,
I just wanted to paint more of a picture of what the place was like. Like there was a Game of Thrones chair. There was like Jack Skellington statue standing next to like a Lightning McQueen car.
I regret not taking more photos. Like
I kind of wanted a picture with the Bumblebee car, and I never got one.
Yeah,
I just forgot.
I did.
Like, I just forgot to do it.
I wish I did take more photos of the venue itself. But the thing is, like, despite the plethora of stalls there, I didn't really buy anything. Neither did you.
I didn't either,
I only bought a Dalek sec. That was all I bought because I was like, why not? I kind of need it.
Because I spent too much on just autographs and stuff.
I spent like all of my money, and that's not even like a lie. Like
Same.
I spent like I wiped out my account pretty much, and it was worth it, but it was kind of like, wow, I cannot spend anything literally.
Like there was an action figure stand. There were like stalls with like prints and stuff, and like with artwork, and they all looked cool, but I just couldn't buy any of them because I was already spending all my money on the guests. So.
Yeah, exactly. I'll say as well, for me, like in my opinion, like the morning part of the convention, like that obviously before you do the photo ops, that was like, this is like kind of quite calm and it's building up, and then
chill.
I feel like the second half when you start doing photo ops, it just becomes like carnage to get everywhere. Like it just becomes.
It's because all of the photo venues are like right next to each other, and you don't know what queue is which, so they all just kind of merge into the one big block of people.
Yeah, because I remember us asking for the David Tennant queue, like which one is the David Tennant queue? Like, because you couldn't tell because it actually stretched along multiple of the entryways. But yeah, I suppose that brings us into talking about like meeting the Doctors and the companions and etc.
Yeah.
So I suppose do you want to talk about signatures first?
I mean, I think I was the first one.
I think Jean should go first because he chronologically met them before we did. So.
Yeah. So like when Will and Hugh were still like waiting about to get in, I walked about the venue and was like, okay, I might as well go up and meet some of the Doctors. Colin, Peter, and Paul were all together, but Sylv was like all the way off in like a different room. Yeah.
Which was weird. I don't know whether he was like trying to distance or anything, because he did wear, spoilers, a face visor for the photo ops, but then
I'm pretty
he also like put your hand on like your shoulder for like the photo ops, so I was a bit like, which is it? I wasn't sure on that, whether he was just...
I'm pretty sure Sylvester was only on distancing, or... I'm pretty sure Sylvester was only on away from the classic Doctors because he was with like the Hobbit people. I think that's it.
That makes sense.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. I mean,
because he was
billed as the
Hobbit first.
Yeah. Although, you know, I mean, like the majority of people I saw go to his table with a Doctor Who, I'm going to be...
Oh, yeah, I mean, the main draw for the event was David Tennant.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. From the Comic-Cons, I mean, I guess for, like, I've got a frame of reference now. Like, I guess I've only ever been to the Cardiff one, but that one didn't have many Doctor Who, like, people, mainly because, like, the guests were just Colin and Sylvester. So, a lot of
they do all of them.
And, so a lot of the cosplayers and, like, fans and stuff were more general. Like, I saw a couple of Doctor Who people before, but it wasn't...
they're not the main draw.
As this, whereas like with this, it kind of did feel like a Doctor Who convention that just so happened to have a few other things. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, like there was still
I don't know. I think the size of it, like there was obviously the majority of Doctor Who, but it did just feel like this massive fandom event, which I really liked.
Like, I'm not saying there wasn't other people. I just felt like there was a stronger Doctor Who presence at this than I was used to in other conventions, which made sense because, as you said, there were a lot of Doctor Who themed guests.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. What was you?
I mean, my actual.
You met, so.
Yeah. So I went up to McGann first. I was gonna get shirts all signed, but I ended up like bringing this art print. Instead, like this really nice print of like the Eighth Doctor and Charlie.
Oh, I know
the
one.
TARDIS console.
The TARDIS. Yeah.
We were speaking about that a little bit. Spoke a little bit about Big Finish. I told him that I really liked the Stranded series and stuff. And then he signed that. I tried to keep my interactions with the Doctors quite brief.
Yeah.
Just because like I don't know, I was like a little bit overwhelmed at first, but at the same time like I didn't want to be that person which is you just ask the same questions again and again because like you just know that like
I get that.
Everyone's going up to like Peter and being like, "Oh, are you gonna like do another 5-ish Doctors reboot for like the 60th?" Or you go up to David and be like, "Oh, you come back for the 60th?" And So
I didn't want to do that. Like people did ask me, "Oh, did you ask David about the 60th?" And I was like, "No, I was too nervous to ask him about the 60th." Yeah.
I went up to Peter Davison's table.
I already know where this is going.
I was going to book a photo op with Peter Davison. However, I didn't have any money in my account, and I thought that I would have been able to book it on the day because I know like other cons I've been to, you could do that. Turns out I couldn't. I was like, oh shit. So I was going up to him, and I saw that the guy in front of me in queue grabbed a selfie with him. I was like, oh okay, he's clearly like doing photos and stuff at his table. That's cool. I'll like ask him for one like when I'm getting stuff signed. So I went up to him, just like, hi, how you doing and stuff, I got like a signed print from him. I was like, oh yeah, do you mind if like we grab a quick photo? Like, was that cool? And he just looked at me like blank in the eye, like straight in the eyes, and he was like, no, I don't do that. And I was like, oh, it's just I saw you with the guy before, and he was like, no, you have to pay for your photo op. And then he started like he's just blatantly lying to me that he hadn't just taken a selfie with the guy in front and that he was just showing him something on his phone. I was like, you don't like both like hold up the phone and smile at it.
Yeah.
Like when And it would have been, and the thing is, I would have been cool if he was just like, oh, I'm not feeling it, or whatever. Like, that would have been fine. Because, to be fair, he had just sat back down. I was like, alright, if he's not, like, feeling up to it, then fair enough. Like, he's not obliged to take a photo with me. But it was just the fact that you just, like, blatantly lied. And I go on Twitter, like, a few hours later and just see everyone's photos with him at his table, and I'm like...
Yeah.
Okay, like,
that
was
is
he
weird
just...
because
like,
I was one of those people who got a picture with him at the table.
I was like, was he just salty that I was dressed as fucking the 10th Doctor or something? Like, I didn't understand.
That might have been the joke, honestly.
Peter Davison,
like, the thing is...
I was just going to say, Peter Davison does generally give me vibes of being quite temperamental with fans. Like...
Yeah, I've heard stories. Yeah.
Fellow Universal member Benny says that he got a bad experience with Peter Davison, so...
Like, obviously, I don't want to rank them in terms of, like, their welcomingness to fans, or whatever the word you would use to describe it is, but, like, I would say, out of them all, Peter was the one where I was kind of like, he was nice, but it wasn't, like, as chill. I don't know whether that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because, like, obviously, I guess...
He kind of felt like, the vibe that Peter gave me, it felt like as if he had been sort of dragged along and didn't really want to be there. He was just like, yeah, I'll do it, I guess. If David's doing it, why not?
Yeah, and you know what? Like, it's fair enough if you're not as enthusiastic, I guess. It's just, I think, because some of the others were so, like, high energy and happy to be there, I think
Paul
it does
was
just
lovely,
stick out
and, like, Colin's always, like, a laugh.
Yeah. I think it does just stick out when you have one person who's just not feeling it as much that day.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like... It wasn't like he was mean, particularly. It was
no,
Peter Davison just always gives me those like that scene in the Five-ish Doctors reboot just always defines him at conventions for me.
Yeah. Like, I was half tempted to, like, say that line to him. You know, the bit where it's like, it's for Courtney with a K. But I didn't want to because I felt like you would tell me off, to be honest. I was, me and Maddox came up with a plan being like, look, I'll say I'm your carer and maybe he'll let you have a picture. And he did.
You told me to say that, and I was like, fine.
I somewhat felt guilty after that. Well, I mean... you know, I mean, admittedly, you had already introduced yourself as that in a prior signing, so it was like...
Yeah, with Nicola Bryant.
You know, it wasn't, like, unprecedented for you to do that. So
and I was technically telling the truth, because I was handing out, like, your payment money to the people, and, like, handing out your DVD, like...
that is true. I mean, I suppose it, like, helped to explain... Yeah, like, it was an easy explanation, but I just thought, well, if we've already introduced it once, if I've already introduced you once as that, kind of makes sense to do it again and see if we can get a free picture. Because I didn't book Peter, because Peter was added to the website later, which does kind of give credence to what you were saying, Jean.
Yeah,
of, like, maybe, maybe I'll come as well. Screw it, why not? Like, that does give you the vibe of that. But yeah, you carry on. What was the next person you met after?
Catherine Tate, she was the final person I went up to see. I think that's whereabouts I first met you as well, Tharies, in the day.
Yes,
I'll come
we
to
met
the
each other at the Catherine Tate stand.
So, like, you and Nerdden or something, like, turned up.
Hey.
Tell the story of the
creep. She was lovely. The thing is, right, just before I was about to go up, like, I was literally, like, next in line, and then Catherine, like, catches, like, this guy who's in the queue for David Tennant. David Tennant's away doing photo shoots at this point, so it's just, like, there's an empty, like barrier, like, row, just for, like, him to, you know, get a good view of her or something. And he's just here with this massive camera taking unsolicited photos of her. And just like, oi, what are you doing there? And... yeah, she calls him over, right, and then just starts calling him out and having an argument with him. And then he tries to play it off like, oh, I just take pictures of beautiful women. Being, like, really, like,
slimy.
That is one thing I'll say, like, with... I mean, I was quite happy it didn't happen, like, much. But, like, it is kind of sad that happens still. Like...
yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, I think what people forget is that these people are people. They're not just... things on a screen that you look at every once in a while, and it's like, yeah, I just find people can be really weird with, like, you know, people they idolise, I guess. There's kind of a just sus vibes, but you know.
I mean, when she was like sending the guy away, she was like, "Oh, you've kept the doctor waiting." Like, she was having like a joke and stuff with me, which was nice. And
I did wonder what took you so long, actually. Because from my perspective, like, you were just stood there for a while she was talking to someone else. I was like, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
And then obviously I figured it, obviously you told me after the fact, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I got my Series 4 Steelbook signed, and yeah. It was a nice experience. I think, I'm not going to, like, go too ahead, but I think, meeting both McGann and Catherine, first, before having the photo shoot with them, made it a lot easier, I think, when being there. Because I'd already kind of, like, broke the ice. Whereas, like, the Tennant one, I was a bit more like, ooh, it's...
Yeah.
Well,
that's
there.
The thing. One thing I will say, like, obviously with, you know, they're free to charge whatever they want, but, like, I couldn't justify 40 for, like, Catherine for, like, an autograph as well. Because I'd already paid, like, 40 for a picture. It was, like, kind of one of those things... There's pros and cons to both, right, with, like, signatures and, photos, because like the pro of like a signature is you get to speak to them a bit more. It's a bit more personal, you know, you're not rushed along quite as quickly, but the benefit of a photo is you're there with them in like a picture, and that's something you like probably will have more sentimental value than just their signature on something you own. So it's
I guess with signatures you've got more of a story as well. Like, I know Will certainly has a story from this event.
Oh, I certainly have a story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just talking to them. I think it also depends on the guest and just how big they are as well. Like, some will spend a lot more time with you. You know, you can have, like, full-on conversations with them.
Yeah, I will say, when I met Paul, because I know that you mentioned Paul, and he was having a conversation with you about, like, the artwork and Stranded and stuff. When I met Paul, it was somewhat quicker, and I think it was more because when I met Paul, the the Tennant queue for the autographs, that had started by that point. So I think it was a bit more
engulfed all the other queues.
Yeah,
you had to literally go through the 10th Doctor queue to get to any other person.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, part of me does think they probably overbooked the Tennant stuff, right? Like... Oh, maybe. Unless that was all intentional.
Apparently he did manage to get through everyone, so, and he did stay later and like take photos with like all the staff and stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that is... I saw him taking pictures with, like, I think someone posted it on like Twitter, like him taking pictures with staff, which I really respect, to be honest.
Like, he must have been exhausted by the end of the day. But like every time I saw him, he just really seemed like full of energy and like really wanting to be there.
Which, you know, I mean, you know, the 90 quid each time probably helped, admittedly, but, you know, he was still a lovely guy.
Oh, yeah, I saw someone work it out. He was bringing home, like, over 100k that day.
Yeah, that's mental.
150.
I mean, I assume the con itself takes, like, a cut, right? Like,
yeah.
But, like, even still, he was walking away from that convention very well off after that fact.
Yeah. So it must have been around that point where I ran into Jarl again. Around that point.
Yeah, it wasn't shortly after I got my signing with Catherine that, we all met up properly.
Yeah, it was shortly after that.
Yeah, shortly after that I ran into Jarl again, and then I was like, right, shall we do signings? And then John was like, oh, I already did mine. I was like, okay, fuck you too. And, but I know Tharies hadn't done his yet, so I think it was around that point when we sort of like began our own circumnavigating of the con, like in a weird anti-clockwise direction to get to everyone.
Yeah. I swear we missed the place we were going like twice before we figured out, Sylvester's this way. Because we went to get...
Yeah.
I remember we went to get Sylvester and Nicola together, and they were on the same end-ish, from what I remember. And then... I think it was Paul after those two, I think. Could be
because
John you went up with Colin on your own.
So so well, first I had to go get my money out, actually. That's what happened. Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I want signings. Oh, wait, it's cash only. We need to get money out. So Jean and I went to get cash out on that weird... That was a wild endeavour in itself. But I came back. Jean stopped off at Greg's. So... and I came back with mine and Thari's money, so we went around to do autographs. So it was me, Thari's, and Hugh.
Yeah.
We went to Sylvester first, I think.
We did, I think we did.
Yeah, because I was the birthday boy, I went in front. I think you were like, oh, you go first, Maddox. I was like, oh, thank you.
I love your impression of me, man. Yeah, no, I probably...
yeah, we went to
Yeah, no, I
Sylvester.
probably did.
We went to Sylvester, and shall I recount like how Sylvester interacted with me, and then you recount how Sylvester interacted with you? Is that?
Yeah, well, yours is probably funnier than mine. Like yours is quite
Probably,
funny.
yeah.
Because,
Yeah. So we went out to Sylvester, and he's like, "Hello!" And he saw my giant ass birthday badge. Hold on, where is my birthday badge? Here it is. I'm putting it on camera right now.
The very same one.
Yeah, the very same one. It was like this big. It was like the size of my face. So he saw that. He was like, "Oh, happy birthday!" And I was like, "Oh, thank you very much, Sylvester." And
you should have play Happy Birthday on the spoons.
Yeah, he should have played me Happy Birthday on the spoons. I, like pretty much everyone else there, was like, "I want a Doctor Who thing for you to sign." It'd gaff about the Hobbit. I didn't say that, but yeah, I handed him over Remembrance of the Daleks, special edition, and he signed that. I think it was him who asked, like, "Oh, do you want me to sign Happy Birthday?" And I was like, "I don't mind." He was like, "I won't then." And yeah. I remember, because obviously when you're meeting your idol, you're like really... Because I mean, I'm not the biggest Seventh Doctor fan, but it's still cool to see Sylvester McCoy in the flesh, especially when he's so welcoming and so like enthusiastic and like eager for life, basically. And so I was obviously like really bouncy and energetic. And Hugh, like right next to me, pointed that out right in front of Sylvester, being like, "You're like really excitable right now." And I just turned to Hugh and I was like, I mean, can you blame me? I'm just starstruck right now. And that prompted Sylvester to get up from behind his desk, because this was a wide desk, and he pointed out that it didn't even need to be that wide. It was just like COVID restrictions, because he was keeping his distance from people. But he decided to break that rule just for me, because he walked around his desk to come to my side, and all of us thought he was coming in for a hug at first. But that's what it looked like. That is genuinely what it looked like. Yeah, but he very lightly just hit me on the arm, just like that, basically. He's like, "There, you have now been starstruck." And just, it made all three of us laugh. But the real kick was when he said, "Although if you want, we can make it like Will Smith at the Oscars." He was really funny. That just took me aback, because Sylvester McCoy doesn't strike me as the kind of person who would be up to date about pop culture like that. Like, obviously, Will Smith slapping what's his face at the Oscars. Of course, that was everywhere.
Chris Rock.
Yeah, Chris Rock. Obviously, that was like everywhere, big news and stuff. But I just kind of feel like Sylvester McCoy just doesn't keep up with that. So it was just weird for him to mention. He exists out of time. Yeah. Like he is a. I just get the mental image of him just what was funny as well in the middle of the woods. The very funny thing that you did, that I don't think you might not even remember you doing it, but when we left Sylvester's table, you were like, "Oh, I'll watch The Hobbit sometime." Yeah, I did say that. I do. I was like, "Bye, I'll watch The Hobbit sometime." That just made me giggle, because it was like, oh, poor Syl. But no, I also got him to sign the Remembrance of the Daleks special edition, and my interactions with him were somewhat more brief. It was kind of just like, I sort of joked how the table's keeping you away from the commoners, and he was like, "Oh yeah, yes," and he chuckled, and yeah, mine was less cool than yours. Mine was just like, "Yeah, how you doing?" I still got to hand over your money though. I said, I did think about bringing Happiness Patrol. I was like, "Ooh, I'm his carer," so I sort of like dramatically reached into my pocket and tossed the money at him. Yeah. No, that was good though. Sylvester was
lovely man.
Yeah, Sylvester was lovely. He was lovely.
And then Nicola's next.
It was Nicola next,
that,
yeah.
right?
I had already met Nicola a month
You-
before at the BFI. I have a funny story about that, which I'll tell later.
Oh, yeah.
So we were going up to her for Thary's benefit, but I was still, like, handing over the money and the DVD and stuff, so I still accompanied him. Do you want to recount, like, your interaction?
Oh, yeah, so, basically my interaction was, I had Colin sign my Vengeance on Varos DVD already, at the Cardiff Comic Con, and I wanted Nicola to sign it as well, because I was like, oh, I love this story, I'll get both of them to sign it. And Nicola, like, joked about, oh yeah, he really did take up a lot of the space, didn't he? He expects me to work in a little tiny little spot at the bottom of the the DVD, and we both sort of chuckled, and she got out a silver pen to sort of distinguish hers from, because obviously Colin did his in like black.
Yeah, because you have the original edition.
They normally use.
You have the original edition of Vengeance.
Vengeance, yeah, it's the original. Yeah. Not the I think the special edition is the special edition number 6 on the cover going like that, and then like the handout, and then like the Varos logo, I think.
Bird Perry, yeah.
And then like the one I have's the one. Yeah, the one I have's just the original with like Syl and that
it's really dark in colour,
so
it's really dark in colour, so she had to sign with the silver pen.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, so that was basically my interaction with Nicola. She was really friendly. Again, just really nice, really.
But yeah, like before we left, because when I had previously met Nicola at the BFI, she was doing what she was also doing at Telford. She was like being really COVID safe. She was like wearing a mask, keeping a distance from people. And at the BFI, I was really dumb and didn't really mentally clock that. So when we were sharing our photo shoot, I sort of like started walking towards her, and then that sort of startled her. She was like, "Whoa!" and I was like, "Oh God, yeah." And I remember like catching up to her later at the BFI and being like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for stepping so close to you." So I sort of recounted that to her at the stall, like just to sort of be like, "Oh yeah, we ran into each other at the BFI and I stepped too close." And I was like, "Oh God, no, I'm sorry." And she's like, "Oh, that's fine." And Hugh was next to us, and Hugh like afterwards he's like, "Yeah, she totally didn't remember that." And I was like, "Shut up! I was just being nice."
Yeah, no, she. Yeah, I don't think she was bothered. To be fair, I think you know, it was one of those things. I think like everyone was pretty chill there. Like, you know, I think the nervousness more comes from, I guess, just our end than ever like theirs. You know. Not that they need to be nervous about us for any reason, unless they were like that guy Jean mentioned where they were being weird. But yeah, no. And then I think with Paul, like obviously I mentioned, like
I think we went to
Jean mentioned his. First. Sorry, I'm all confused. Well, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I've already sort of told that story though, so I was kind of like.
Oh yeah, well, we went to Peter because we'd already heard of Jean's experience by this point, so we were like, let's have Peter Davison be like the creamy filling in the middle. Let's not like finish off with him, because we have no idea what mood he was in. Because again, he's very temperamental depending on the fan. Thankfully, he was really nice with me, but Hugh, both Hugh and Thary's, they both say, "Will, you came off as a bit special." When approaching him.
Yeah, I think it was just how exaggerated you were being when like handing him the DVD to sign and stuff. It was like he definitely sort of wasn't sure how to match your energy, I think, was the kind of the way I would describe it. He said he had
a very polite smile on his face. So.
Yeah, I would agree.
He did wish me a happy birthday as well, though, so that's nice.
Yeah, that is nice. What did you get him to sign again? I can't remember.
I got Resurrection of the Daleks special edition.
Oh yeah, that was.
And I was like, "It's my first classic Who story." I handed it because, like, I approached him again. I approached him in a very bouncy way, and when I was looking in my bag, I was sort of like doing this little dance, like just where is it? Where is it? There it is, kind of thing. So I guess maybe I did come up as a little bit special.
Yeah, I don't think he minded, but like. I think when I said that you were my carer, he did sort of look at me. Like, I will say, he did sort of give me a look like, really, that's the way around this is going? It's like, fair enough.
Are you safe with this man?
Yeah, like that was the vibe it got, and I was like, oh, Maddox, I'm sorry, but no,
you asked me to do it. Screw you.
As I said, I've sort of already said. Well, yeah, I mean, it worked for me, but it was still funny the way he reacted to it. Oh, but
oh god.
Paul, I was going to say with Paul, like. As I said earlier, my interactions with him were somewhat more brief. He was really nice, though. When I was waiting, he was like, "Oh, come on, let's come and get your signature." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." We sort of made idle chit chat about how chaotic the queue situation for David was, because I went up for that one on my own as well, because you guys had already, I think, done Paul by that point, or I know Jean had. I'm not sure about. Well, I think
we did. Oh yeah, you went up to Paul separately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went up to
because I didn't need you for the DVDs at that point either, because I didn't bring my movie DVD for him to sign, so I got him to sign a print.
I guess I'll just quickly recount my experience with Paul, because I'm a guest. But
yeah.
I mean, if you
Paul, no, that's fine.
Paul probably, of all the doctors there, he probably had like the least to say, but he's still just solid and reliable, just like, oh, hello there, and like he's very friendly.
Yeah, he was nice.
Yeah, he's very nice. Unlike Peter Davison, he definitely wanted to be there, but it's just. I
think we're slagging off Peter Davison a lot. Like, I think he just. Of the lot
Davison. All my homies hate Peter Davison.
Of the ones that we saw, he was just the one who kind of had the least. He was the least enthusiastic, which is not to say he hated it, but it was just kind of like.
To be fair, we got some funny photos out of it, like with him with that billboard being like he's not that special.
Oh yeah, that photo is good. Like I said on Twitter after the fact, that feels like it came out of Five-ish Doctors too. Like that's something that would happen in that hypothetical script, which is
we'll never get.
Yeah. Well, we might.
Yeah, maybe.
Never know.
I handed over my TV movie special edition. I know that sounds really basic bitch, because I was like, oh, do I bring a big finish? But I was like, nah. And he signed his name on like the darker part, like an utter Neanderthal, and I was like, oh god. But thankfully you can still read it. But, and he was like, before I handed it over, he was like, oh, I also have this selection of prints. It's like watching my whole career flash before my eyes, and it was like, oh, black.
I do find him. He's very charming, is Paul, I think. Like, that's, like, the best word, I think, to describe him. He's just, like, you can't help but not be, like, sort of, you can't help but not be, charmed by him. Like, he's just a very charming, like, nice presence, if that makes sense. They all would, but, like, Paul...
I just want to say, I can't believe he's in his 60s. I would have assumed, like, at most
that's
he would be,
mental.
Like, late 40s.
He's barely aged since Night of the Doctor, and that was almost 10 years ago now. Like, it's quite amazing how well that man ages. Like, he just doesn't age. It's quite remarkable.
Yeah.
Russell, bring him back for the 60th.
Yeah, I mean, if we are having a big
the fountain of youth can't last forever.
Yeah, he's preserving himself just for the 60th. like food in a fridge. He's just like, I'm gonna make sure I'm okay by this day.
The second the 60th wraps up film, he's like, my job is done, and then he'll just crumble into dust.
He ages like 1,000 years. Yeah. So I guess would we like to talk about photos next?
Well, there was Colin.
I suppose that is.
There was Colin.
Oh yeah, you want to do your Colin?
Oh
story?
Yeah. We've completely just missed out on like the most iconic moment of the con.
Yes, yeah. Go on, you tell your story, Maddox. It's a very good story.
Jean's already met Colin. Tharis, you've already met Colin, haven't you?
I met him at Cardiff, so I'd already.
Right. So
I'd already had the Colin.
I had already met Colin as well.
Like later, so.
I'd already met Colin as well, but basically, what Colin Baker loves his Crocs. Okay, like he's quite infamous in his old age for being the biggest Croc defender, and he's proud about it on Twitter. There's numerous photos of him like going to conventions and just in his garden. Like, there's a picture on his Twitter somewhere of like one of his daughters posted like him on a snow day wearing shorts and Crocs, just in the garden. So, at some point, I got the bright idea, like a few weeks beforehand. I was like, should I get Colin Baker to sign a pair of Crocs? Because I already got him to sign The Last Adventure. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I'm gonna order a pair of Crocs. There's a video on YouTube. It's on my channel, Maddox Productions 1. We'll link it or put a clip here, whatever. And I ordered a pair of Crocs like a couple of weeks in advance. I was hoping they would be adult size, but when they turned up, they were like child size. So
which kind of made it funnier. To be honest.
I think that added charm to it. Like, like I think that made it more. Like,
just have these tiny Crocs
with his name on
like
Colin
that big. Me and Jean hatched a plan. Like, okay, Jean, can you secretly record it or something? I know that sounds like kind of devious, but
I mean, I wasn't really secretly doing it. Like,
yeah. So we approached Colin Baker, and Colin Baker is just Colin Bakering. He's just a lovely man. He just loves life. Baker. He loves Doctor Who. He just loves embracing just new experiences. So, hello there! He wished me a happy birthday. Paul wished me a happy birthday as well, by the way. So, like, that's 4 doctors wishing me a happy birthday on the same day. That's lovely. So we approached Colin, and he was like, "Oh, I've got a bunch of prints here," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool, but I've brought something. It's not a DVD though. It's more of a novelty item." And then he sort of had this curious look on his face, and the attendant, like the crew member sitting next to him, was like, "Ooh," and I said, "Basically, we know you like Crocs. So how about signing Crocs?" I pulled them out of my bag, and he just burst into this, like, adorable, like, smile. It was like, oh god. And he said, that'll be my first. So I think I'm the only person who's ever got him to sign Crocs. And yeah, he signed Crocs. I will get them on camera right now. They're hanging up on my wall.
I mean,
here are Colin Baker's.
The attendant next to him was just like losing her shit.
Yeah, like he was to my left. He was smiling. Jean was to my right. He was just. I think he was barely containing his laughter. And Colin was like, "Do you want like both signed?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Top or bottom?" That's just an infamous quote that we just cherish forever. I handed him a permanent marker because I wasn't sure if like a Sharpie would work. And he was just sitting there like for a good 5 seconds staring at the Crocs, figuring out where to sign, just like...
Yeah.
And I was like, how about in the sole of the
like,
foot?
The curious look on his...
The sole. It's lovely. So yeah, that's going to stay on my wall forever. Colin Baker pair of Crocs.
Yeah, no, that was really cool.
Yeah.
That video is great as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Lovely. Lovely Colin. We love him.
We do. He was apparently really like everyone loved meeting Colin. Like, Colin's just so fun. I've always felt bad for how like shittily he's been like treated by like every list ever. It's like, you know, in the years after he was the Doctor, because like he's like one of the nicest ones.
Yeah, that's the thing. I remember when I first met Colin, and I was really intimidated going up to him. But he was just like, yeah, he is the most loveliest person to talk to.
Yeah,
like, he's just so open and
And that's one of the nice things I think Big Finish have done, actually, is kind of incorporate that more into his Doctor. Like, letting him be a bit more of a sweetheart, which he kind of is in real life, which is nice. I guess talking about fixtures next, transitioning over to that.
There was a period where we were just sort of wandering and getting lunch and stuff, and then it was pictures.
Yeah.
There's not much to say.
Well, I got food like way later, but with pictures, obviously I got to skip all the queues. So I was one of the few people, like, because I know, Maddox, you didn't make it to one of the classic Doctors. I can't remember which one.
I didn't make it to my Colin photo shoot or my Sil photo shoot.
Okay, no, it's 2. I wasn't sure it was 1 or 2. I knew you'd missed something, but I couldn't remember exactly.
Because you did want a photo with Colin holding the Crocs as well.
That would have been good. But no, because I managed to skip. To be fair though, having said that, I managed to miss all the queues, and I only just managed to get all of them. Because like, we went to the classic Doctors last because we thought, well, my logic was the David Tennant cues are going to be longer, even if we can skip a bit. So like maybe it makes sense to do him first, and then because the classic Doctors are always going to be quiet to do them last. Catherine was first for me.
Yeah.
For the photo op, and she was really nice. She was like, oh, you sit wherever you want, darling. I'll work around you and all this. She was really really fun.
I got to hold my other pose.
Is surprisingly a lot more understated in real life. Like, because you see her on Doctor Who and you see her on the Catherine Tate show, you just imagine her to be like this really like scenery chewing
bombastic character.
I don't know. I feel like there was an element of that, but it is kind of like more like
she's
a real
lot quieter,
person, like
as a person.
She's
still nice. She's still lovely, but it's just.
But like you could still definitely tell it was Catherine Tate, in the way she when you heard her talking to other people before you went in, it's like that's Catherine Tate. That's it's just the way she conducts herself. It's very distinct, I think, which is always fun. But Catherine Tate was lovely. From the experience I had, was it the same for both of you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I spoke to her at the autograph thing. I think that made the photos a bit easier. Because I just went in, I'll put a kind of doctory pose, I gave her the other pose.
See, the thing is, I wasn't nervous for anyone except David. Everyone else,
same.
I was fine. David, that was just another level for me. I think
you can tell in my photo that I wasn't ready.
Catherine was the only one who didn't wish me a happy birthday, but to be fair, I have heard stories that Catherine Tate just does miss the
0 out of 10 cancelled.
Yeah, I have heard stories that Catherine Tate does just sometimes miss the plainly fucking obvious, so she probably just missed my birthday badge.
To be fair, they do whip you in and out so quick that I don't really blame her. If you're not properly paying attention, I do get it. It is just sort of if you'd have gone up to get the autograph, she probably would have.
Yeah, she probably
I think it's just because
how
the photo ops work are so quick. It's just like, hi, nice to meet you, picture, boom, done, out.
Yeah,
and
much, she's still
that's how that works, and it's still lovely, but it's just I can understand her missing that, I guess,
I much prefer the photo ops at Wales Comic Con than I do any of the London ones, because they're so much more chill. Oh, the London ones are terrible. It is literally, you have a member of staff, right? And there's a line you stand on. And the member of staff goes, okay, step on the line, get out, step on the line, get out. And it is they rush you along so quickly. It's just you're hey, snap, okay, fuck off. It is just so in and out. It was brief, but at least you got a...
it was fun. It was a very positive vibe as well. Whenever I went in there, all the staff were really excited for you. It felt, which was nice. That was the vibe I got. Obviously, heading into David's, I don't want to mention this because of how just fun it was. There was full on music coming from his photo booth room, and the staff were all jigging about, and it was they're all just having the time of their lives in there. It was just a really fun atmosphere.
I'm so grateful to have had you there, and not having to wait in that queue.
Well, so basically, obviously I mentioned before, because I was considered part of accessibility, I got to skip stuff. I was like, right, look, I'm gonna mention accessibility to the staff lady. Do you want to come with? And he was like, yeah, alright. And I was like, I'm part of accessibility, where do I go? And she came back and was like, okay, come with me, you're going to have to come through the queue. And I was like, how can I bring my friend John? He's just to help and stuff. And I was glad I did have you there, to be honest, because you managed to get my,
because I was helping with your bags and stuff.
Yeah, so, it was handy to bring you along. Yeah. Well, yeah, you had to wait till the end, but for us... We skipped right.
I don't know where I was
to,
at this point. I think I was busy getting my photo with Peter or Paul or someone. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you were with one of the classic Doctors. I think I can't remember which one, but I think it must have been Peter because you didn't get Colin or Sil. But yeah, we skipped up to David really quick. David,
I felt like such a dick, but I was like,
no. you were with me. It was fine.
Yeah.
They didn't really question it. So
granted, when I came to the David queue way late, like I didn't get in immediately. I like left it for an hour or two. So by the time I joined, the queue wasn't that bad. It felt about as long as it did for the other classic Doctors. It quietened down.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's because you were right at the end, probably. Yeah,
probably.
Like for me, I went. You know, me and John skipped right when like the queue was at its peak. Like genuinely, the Tennant queue like spanned all of the photo rooms all the way to the back. It was mental. But yeah, we managed to skip that, get in the accessibility queue. When I came in, he was like, "Oh, let's do the pose, Doctor. Let's go." I was like, "Oh, can you hold my Sonic?" He was like, "Yeah, no worries. Let's do the pose."
Yeah.
And there's obviously the picture of me and him doing the pose. He was really nice though, really high energy. He was
we need to talk about how David Tennant was on crack that day.
Yeah, he was on something. He was so energetic that, like, I feel like he must have been, like, because he was energetic the whole time.
Yeah, he was dancing about the studio, jumping around.
Yeah,
he was just so on form. Like,
I respect it though. Like,
I think I'll quickly like rapid fire through like Peter and Paul. Like Peter, again, he was the same as before. Just he was fine with me. He was friendly with me. I didn't notice if he still had the same patient smile or not. But I mean, y'all mock the photo I took with him.
Your photo's really awkward. Neither of you look as if you want to be there.
But he has his hand on my lower back.
It's the thumbs up. It's getting Peter Davis
how else to smile
because
I don't smile with my teeth. That's awful. I just like, and I can't just smile just standing. I have to smile doing something. So
I can't smile standing either, to be fair.
Oh yeah, of course. With Paul
I was hoping to get a laugh out of that. No one did. Okay, that's fine.
I just like mentally rolled my eyes. It's like, oh god. Paul.
What?
Like,
my joke was it?
Yeah. Paul again. He just loves being the Doctor because, like, I remember queuing up for the photo op with him and like seeing him like in between takes just flipping his own sonic. Yeah, because he brought his own sonic screwdriver and he was just flipping it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was cool. He brought his own like full-on metal one, which was sick. It was like, what a legend. He knows what we want.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I bought like an 8th Doctor sonic screwdriver just to give him for the shoot. And then I remember getting there, and I was just about to go up, and I was like, oh, he has it. I was like faffing about at like the end when I was going up to him, like, oh, where can I put this? Because I can't like put it in my jacket pocket because it will stick out and be visible in the photo.
You should have got him to hold both. Like he was conducting an orchestra, just like that.
Which one is the real one?
I'm going to reverse the polarity twice.
And then Tennant.
No.
Like again, he was the same experience to me. He was just. He must have just snorted like 5 lines. Because...
Yeah, it says a lot more that he was like that with you as well, because you were right at the end, so it didn't like fade at any point. Yeah, and that's what makes it weird. Like, more funny,
obviously, it wasn't. It was in his natural Scottish accent, but for the sake of it, I'll just go, "Oh, happy birthday!" So it was like that.
The 10th.
Yeah, oh, that's good. But like, it wasn't just with me because it was my birthday. He was also doing it with the people like in front of me, the people behind me. He was embracing them with full like vigor, and I was like, Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
this man.
I respect it though. Big respect.
I'm glad that I think he was just trying to give everyone like the best experience though, and I like.
Yeah.
I'm glad for that. Yeah.
You can tell he really like. You can tell he knows like what it's like.
Yeah, how important. Yeah,
but it's almost like he knows what it's like to be on the other end of that queue. If you know what I mean, he knows what it's like to be the fan queuing up for the Doctor to get like him to sign something. Because he was, like big Tom Baker fan, Pete Davidson fan. Like when he was
a lot of people like coming to meet their heroes essentially.
Yeah,
like,
he knows what it's like to be on the other end of that. So I think he wants, like the ideal. Scenario that he would have like wanted as a kid for these people, which is really like commendable. I think just how sort of friendly he was and like upbeat. Yeah.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
It's really nice.
So I got 5 doctors to
And
wish
also-
me a happy birthday on the same day.
That is very cool. Not many people can say that they've done that. I was just going to say as well with the David Tennant ones. I don't suppose you guys. I think Maddox, you might have mentioned it before recording. Someone faked a photoshopped picture of Tennant in the 60th using one of the Telford shoots.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I
I know that's not real because I was there. I was there at like,
so
those crew
obvious. It's
jackets.
Yeah, they just swapped the heads.
Yeah. No, it was really obvious, but like, yeah, people still fall for it, which was weird. But I suppose I haven't really spoken about me with Colin and Sil for the photo ops. So obviously I was like right at the end for those two. So
yeah, we weren't even sure if you were going to get them.
No, I almost didn't. Because as well, my phone had died, so I had to get them to like look up my name each time as well, because my phone had died by this point. But with Colin, I saw him for, I think, because Paul and Colin were in the same room. So as I finished up with Paul, Colin was sat like sort of by the side.
Okay.
You know, he's getting ready for his turn. I was like, I'll see you in a moment. And he was like, I'll see you in a moment. And I was like, oh. So I saw him again. And he was like, oh, you're a good driver. And I was like, oh, thank you. And yeah, we got the picture. He was lovely. I don't know whether you saw it, but there was a picture of him doing the middle finger in the picture. Apparently he suggested it, which just makes Colin's, oh, what a legend. And then, funny enough, on my way out of either Sylvester or Colin, I can't remember, Sean Pertwee was just there waiting. And we just...
Well, you saw Will's dad?
Yes.
Sean Pertwee looks like my dad. So.
Yeah. But we just sort of exchanged a sort of grin with each other, and then I left. And then that was, yeah. With Sylv again, like, he was nice. Obviously, I mentioned before, he had the face shield. So, obviously...
Which was a bit unfortunate, especially for, like, the Flash.
Obviously, if it's what makes him, what makes him comfortable, fair enough. Yeah. But it is kind of like he's the only one that had one, so it does look kind of weird. Where it's
it feels weird. It feels weird because, like, back in February I got photos with him, and he is a bit socially distanced in, like, one of them. He wasn't wearing, like, any, like, face protection, like, in the photo shoots. Maybe it's just because this was a much bigger convention, I don't know. But,
bigger than
yeah, it did seem a bit odd. Oh, yeah, 100%.
Is that the one with Jodie?
Yeah, that's why I was surprised at how big this was.
And you would say this was bigger than that, really?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Really?
100%. Okay. Oh yeah. Like
That's
maybe maybe the queues just for the Jodie bit were hectic, but they weren't like on this level.
That
on
does
this scale.
Surprise me because
I feel like this
was the first time both.
Yeah. I feel like Tennant has a bigger draw though, just not just as being like one of the more popular doctors, but for all his other stuff as well.
That's probably true, and I suppose as well, like
I think like the Wales Comic Con one is just a much bigger convention.
What were the other guests of the London one outside of Jodie and Mandip? Like,
Sylv, Colin, there was a few Red Dwarf people.
So the guest list.
I think Brian Blessed was there.
Was maybe a little bit.
Was that the one before? I can't remember.
Maybe the guest list was a little bit smaller.
If I ever get my photo shoot with Sylv in the future, because obviously I missed out, I want to get him to like, because what was the option there, Jean? Like for the socially distanced one, like was there an option like with the umbrella or something, like him?
Well, no. Well, what happened is on the day, right? I was there because I booked a group photo with him and Sophie.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll get that. And on the day, right, they announced Sylv was doing a photo shoot in costume. I think that was like 35 or something. It was a bit more, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." So I booked that on the day, and I got that where he's like in the full costume. He has the umbrella. You know, I did see some people like using the kind of socially distanced thing where like they incorporated the umbrella into the shoot, so it's like he's grabbing them by the neck by the umbrella, which was a bit cool.
Yeah.
I just fixed mine in post.
If I ever get one with him and he's still socially distanced, I want it to be like he holds the umbrella to me like it's a sword, and I'll be like, ah, or something.
Yeah. That's
a cool idea.
Yeah, that'd be
probably the best one.
I think I would like to get Sylv again, if only because, like I said, it is just a bit weird having like all of them be you know, not in face visors, and then just still being the one who is. But, you know, and maybe I'll get a proper, like, Davison picture at one point, because obviously the one I got was, like,
Yeah.
at the table. But,
Was
yeah,
points.
I overall, though, really, like, enjoyed the day. The only other thing, like, in terms of, sort of, I guess, the actual event, one thing I'll say, and I doubt they'd change this, because I get the hustle, but man, the food was expensive.
Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you, Tharies.
What do you mean? Fuck me. Like,
you made me buy... I spent like £6 on a hot dog for him, thinking, oh... I owed him like
money, to be fair.
Yeah,
so
I owed you like £4, right?
quid
But then
on...
I also paid like 2 times for that phone charger. I'm so glad that I went to Greg's. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm so glad that I went to Greg's.
If you had to spend 12 quid on 2 chicken burgers with chips, and they were very mediocre as well.
Yeah, the hot dog was very mediocre. It was like a regular baguette with like a sort of like the most bang average, maybe slightly below average hot dog I've like ever eaten. It's like
I
knew convention, like, I know these food places in conventions are like a bit extortionate, obviously, because
that's the hustle.
Yeah. The one in London's way worse because there's no like shops around that, so it's like you can't like nip out to Greg's or something.
And London's more expensive anyway, I suppose. Like,
yeah, but even still, I was like, what the hell?
It's like, Christ.
Yeah, I think if I was to go again, I'd either bring food or go to like the Greg's like you did. Because
the big shopping centre, there's like a McDonald's, there's like a Greg's, there's a bunch of food places like just within 5 minutes.
It wasn't worth. I mean, admittedly, the only reason I did get it was because like I was just hungry and I hadn't eaten. Like I ate like shortly before like leaving, so it's kind of like I just needed to eat something. I did get a Burger King on the way home at one of the services because it didn't really touch the sides, but yeah, that was the other thing I could think to mention. The food. Maybe make it a bit cheaper.
Or at the very least, you are going to charge the army of David Tennants that we could mention.
I mean, we mentioned chasing the Cyberman one, like when we were on that story.
I was separated
I guess
from you
when we were queued up for, yeah, I can't remember if it was either David Tennant. No, it would have been the Catherine Tate one, I think.
It was, yeah.
When they were kind of all back, yeah. And like I was kind of roped back into it again.
Yeah.
And what was it? I don't remember. I don't remember much about it. But didn't you say like they wanted us to all shout like Alan Z or something, like take a photo?
Yeah, I seem to remember.
He was in so much pain during that.
Yeah, I remember remarking to Hugh, yep, well, there's no doubt who the most popular doctor is now. And
I think it's because apparently their plan was because they saw David Tennant pass and like he took some photos with people. He was like, I think what they were thinking was like, oh, if we get all the 10th Doctors together, maybe like if you pass, you'll take a photo with all of us. But I was like,
mobbing.
I doubt it, but yeah.
Would have been admittedly quite funny just to have him be like the Pied Piper, just sort of just sort of having a bunch of 10th Doctors behind him. But yeah, admittedly, I will say with like the 10th Doctor thing, it was kind of like, okay, we get it. You're all 10th Doctors. Bit's over now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. The 10th didn't. Oh, what was it we did? We did we did the conga. We did 10th Doctor conga.
Yeah.
God.
That was.
It was fun. But it was kind of like. It was kind of like. It did get a bit. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, maybe. Like it was just. I think it was just the fact that they kept up the bit for so long. It was like, yep, you're all the 10th Doctor.
Hugh is very much. I guess he is kind of like a half convert Doctor Who fan now, but like kind of begrudgingly so. Because before meeting me, he hated the show. So, and he just hated the way that the fandom interacts sometimes. So when he was just standing there witnessing this army of 10th Doctors just being like, oh, he was like, oh god, I want to die.
Yeah.
Yeah,
some of that is pretty cringe. I think the thing about like fandom and like these cons and stuff, it's really good because like everyone's kind of there for the same thing, and it is really easy just to talk to anyone and like make friends and stuff. But yeah. There is a big spoonful of cringe that comes with that.
Just a spoonful of cringe helps.
I ended up doing in my foot. which it still hasn't.
Oh
yeah.
What happened with that?
I think it's because of
you couldn't walk for the whole.
It was because of like standing in line to get in for like 15 minutes, and then walking around the place, and then like standing in 4 separate lines to get photo ops. I think eventually my foot just gave up, and now whenever I walk,
complaining about being able to walk.
Yeah. And now, like whenever I put my foot down, there's like a muscle in my foot that just goes ow.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't envy the people who like had to stand in the queues for like hours. Like because like obviously I got put off pretty easy. Like not only because I was in a chair, but also because like I got to skip all the queues. But like if you were queuing for hours to get in the place, then queuing hours for David and Catherine or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I was very lucky in that respect because I was kind of like I got in earlier than people. I got to skip a few queues with people.
Well, like, with me, you got to skip a few queues with me.
Yeah. So the plan is going ahead. Tharis, do you want to come to a bunch of cons with me?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I want to do London. Like London, I do want to do. It's just seeing if I can get someone to take me. Is the
Meanwhile, I used my birthday privilege to get Tharis a free photo with Peter Davison. So.
Well, it was more care or pity, I think, that was what got the free picture with Peter Davison. It was more pity on me, I think.
To be honest, I feel like he would have taken the photo anyway. Like, I saw him taking like photos with like lots of people.
I think the extra convincing helped it get over the line.
He took
just
photos
didn't
with
like me.
Children, disabled people, and pretty girls. Just
maybe it's because you were dressed as the Temp Doctor. Maybe he was just really salty. You know what? Fair. I bet you if you were in your Davison cosplay, he'd be like, "Yes, come right over." Like reserves a space for you to get a picture. Like
maybe if I just wanked off his ear a bit more, I was like, "So you're actually like, I really love this story."
Yeah, but I think that
the deep isn't that bad or something.
Yeah, I love the Merca.
Oh my god, the Merca, the thing that's coming back, maybe? I don't know. Who knows? We'll talk about that in the next episode of this podcast. Naturally.
The only other thing
I think that was everything though, right? Like,
yeah, because there's an upcoming London con, but there's also an upcoming you know where they film the demons, like the Devil's End location. Like I think every year or every couple of years, like they have a Doctor Who gathering there, and there's one in like June, and I'm considering going because Colin's going to be there. Sophie Alger's going to be there, Fraser Hines is going to be there, Peter Purvis is going to be there, Caroline Ford's going to be there.
As for upcoming conventions that I know that I'm going to MCM like at the end of May. I'm doing all 3 days of that. I don't think there's guests there. It's more just about the vibes and meeting people and shit. It's apparently a lot more chill. So
no,
I think what I want to do is
I'm doing that, and then the London one in summer, where I think Eccleston's doing it.
Yeah, I've heard about that. But Science of the Time Lords I'd like to do.
Where is that?
I'm not sure.
When is that?
But it's like, I think it's like later in the year, like November-ish time.
Yeah, because I know that's obviously a Doctor Who specific con.
Yeah, that's Doctor Who exclusive, and it's like a science museum anyway. So even once you've stopped
I've seen photos from that,
stuff,
you get some really good photos and stuff, because it looks like you're actually in spaceships and stuff.
In the science museum, so you've still got stuff to do even if you're not getting pictures or whatever. I'd like to do that one at some point, but I think that wraps up basically everything we wanted to talk about, right? Well, thank you all for listening to episode 3 of A Wild Endeavour, this special episode. Thank you to Will Maddox, our guest for today. You've done very well.
Hopefully we'll be sure to create a ranking of all the guests we have on. So right now you're doing pretty well. Well, yeah. You're the first.
You're the only one there, so
yeah. Let's not do that. Let's not rank guests.
Can you imagine? Yeah, they were kind of shit actually.
Yeah, no one would a 6 out of 10.
No one would ever want to come on our podcast. But yeah, thank you all for watching this. Please subscribe to the Wild No YouTube channel if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music. Give the podcast a follow, stream it, tell your friends. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, besties.